It's an episode where he's just getting beaten down, and it comes on the heels of numerous episodes where nothing is working for him. And each little scheme he has kind of falls apart or breaks in the wrong way.
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down a few moments from a recent interview with Bob Odenkirk, along with relating it back to Season 3 of Better Call Saul. With that being said, warning of spoilers for everything in the show up to episode 310, and let's jump right into this. So Bob Odenkirk has been going around doing quite a lot of interviews lately, considering that he's been nominated for an Emmy, and in his interview with Build, he starts discussing the episode that he submitted. Now, first off, the interview was over half an hour long, so I'll go ahead and link it in the description. Feel free to check it out in its entirety afterwards. Alright, so I actually have an entire discussion video based around this, but the episode Bob Odenkirk submitted was Season 3 Episode 7, Expenses. This is no surprise considering that this episode really stands out Jimmy's character, as he can just not catch a break, all leading up to the final scene of the episode in the insurance office where Jimmy ends up throwing Chuck under the bus. The reason why I bring this up is because from what Bob Odenkirk says here in this interview, we may be able to solve a fan debate that's been discussed ever since the episode aired. Now, some of you may remember all of this from the content that I created around the time episode 307 first aired, but let me give a summary to refresh our memories and catch everyone up to speed. All episode, Jimmy has been shown trying to do everything that he can do to avoid being completely screwed over by being suspended from the law for a year, such as taking client calls during his community service, trying to sell his commercial airtime, along with trying to make appointments to get his malpractice insurance straightened out. And so after an entire episode of one punch to the stomach after another, he finally cracks and breaks down in the insurance office after the woman he's talking to denies him any sort of compensation. And not only that, she told him that his rates were going to go up by 150% or something like that, just as icing on the cake. Now, although Jimmy technically won the court case against Chuck, he still got suspended for a year, and so he's been minorly screwed over left, right, and center because of it. Although Jimmy is breaking down in front of this woman in her office, the frustration Jimmy has towards Chuck for putting him through all of this causes him to start manipulating her. Although his breakdown seemed to be genuine, it put him in a position of leverage because of it. He starts blurting out things about why his life isn't going well, from his car not starting, to Kim being mad at him, and then finally Chuck. After telling this woman a summary of Chuck's tragic life, he mentions the fact that Chuck actually had a mental breakdown in the middle of court. This causes the woman to write this down, as Chuck actually uses the same insurance company. Jimmy plays it off dumb, begging for what he just said to not give Chuck any complications, even though that's exactly what he wanted.
He had a complete mental breakdown at the bar hearing.
Your brother, he had a breakdown in court?
It's in the transcripts. What are you writing? No, don't write. I didn't mean to say that. I don't want him to get in trouble with you guys because of me.
Now, some people caught on to what he was doing here sooner than others, but by the time that he walks out of that office smiling, it confirms that what he said about Chuck, he said on purpose. And so, to take it even one step further, the main debate here is that it's commonly theorized that Jimmy actually had all of this deliberately planned out before he even stepped foot in that office. So the initial realization for viewers at the end of the episode is that he had some sort of an epiphany, only realizing that he could possibly screw over Chuck after he's run out of options. All episode we're supposed to sit through Jimmy's complications, most likely sympathizing with him due to how hard he's genuinely trying to make everything work. From the scene where his car won't start, to the scene where he sits there in the parking lot depressed after paying his camera crew out of his own pocket, you really feel for Jimmy this episode. Now, if you'd like to see a full review of the episode, feel free to check that out on the channel, but I've done enough talking for now, so let's finally get to the interview.
I think it's in episode 7, which is what I submitted, there's a really great scene at the end that it's this scene where Saul is, Jimmy is at the insurance office. So he's at the lawyer's or the insurance office, and he's genuinely, what's so great about the scene is he genuinely cracks. Like he just can't win.
So as Bob Odenkirk explains the situation in his own way, he describes Jimmy's breakdown as him genuinely cracking. He describes that Jimmy did indeed have an epiphany of some sort, realizing that he can use his situation to his advantage.
He's in the insurance office. He's genuinely breaking down because he's just had nothing but bad luck. And he realizes, somehow it comes to him that this emotional sharing that's inappropriate can be used to kind of be a weapon to kind of hurt his brother, kind of just strike back.
He continues to mention how it's all in the moment, implying that it was in fact sporadic and not something pre-planned. When I listened to this originally, I jumped on the idea of creating another discussion video on the matter, as it was just such a predominant debate during the show's airing at the end of season 3.
And it's just such a wild thing to play, you know, this genuine letting go that then becomes this plan, and it's all takes place in the moment. And God, it was just a wonderful thing to be offered as an actor. And so I thought maybe that was worthwhile to share with people.
So with that being said, what did you guys think about the situation? Do you agree that Jimmy made up throwing Chuck under the bus right there on the spot, or are you still determined that Jimmy walked into the office planning on it all? Now, something that caused this speculation in the first place was the fact that when Jimmy first gets into the office, he tells the woman to look him up by his last name, McGill. The woman looks up Chuck McGill first, asking if that's him, and Jimmy denies it, saying no, that that's his brother. This does two things. It tells us that Chuck uses the same insurance company, along with telling Jimmy that as well. The reason why people originally considered this all to be pre-planned is because it's possible that Jimmy told her to look him up by last name to see if Chuck's name would in fact come up or not, giving him confirmation that Chuck works there.
Can you just look up my name, McGill?
Charles McGill of Hamlin McGill?
No, that's my brother. I'm Jimmy, James McGill, solo practitioner.
Now, although that is a possibility, I doubt that that is the case, especially now that it wouldn't really line up with what Bob Odenkirk is saying here at all. I think that it was a complete coincidence that Chuck's name got brought up, although it does have a purpose. So although Jimmy never was testing to see if Chuck's name would come up, this does put the idea in his head that Chuck does have the same insurance company. So when Jimmy originally walks in there, I don't think he was thinking about Chuck whatsoever. He has his own issues on his mind here, and he's had a busy day. When the woman brings up Chuck's name, Jimmy almost seems startled, as if he wasn't expecting to talk about Chuck at all. In fact, I almost found it funny on my first viewing, in a sense where Jimmy just seems to have Chuck's name come up wherever he looks, considering that that's probably the last person Jimmy wanted to think about at the time. So yes, I do believe that Jimmy put 2 and 2 together right then and there, realizing that he could use the knowledge of Chuck sharing insurance companies with him to his advantage. And when you see Jimmy breaking down, right before he starts babbling on about Chuck, I swear you can also see the exact instance where Jimmy freezes and gets the idea. But feel free to leave your own theories and speculation down in the comments below, or even leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today. Oh, and if you have any suggestions for future discussion topics, definitely let me know as well. Subscribe for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad content in the near future, or even consider supporting me on Patreon to help me produce more content such as this video that you're watching now. I've just now finally set it all up, and I'll be adding more to it as we continue moving forward, so definitely check it out and let me know what you guys think. Anyways, as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
My car won't start. My gal is disappointed in me, and my brother. My brother is sick, and he's alone. I spent years caring for him, and now he hates me. He's the only family I got left, and he hates me. He hates my guts.
Is this your brother Charles?